The Pro Bowlers Tour comes to you from the Garden State of New Jersey as the greatest bowlers in the world return to Carolierer Lanes in North Brunswick for the championship round of the Johnny Petraglia Open. Now, let's meet our outstanding field of finalists. Fifth seed looking for back-to-back wins from Bel Air, Maryland, Tim Criss. His opening opponent owns 22 titles, defending champion from Stockton, California, Walter Ray Williams, Jr. Third seed is a former PBA Rookie of the Year, 4 career wins from Tarpon Springs, Florida, Steve Hoskins. Our semifinal match features Pete Weber from St. Ann, Missouri, the 1991 winner here. And our tournament leader was inducted into the PBL Hall of Fame earlier this year, the pride of Venezuela, AMLETO Monticelli. Standing room only crowd as Bo Burton and I look on, and Bo, there's a good top prize.
You're right, Chris. A nice payday for all the players. 4 out of the top 10 players in the world in our field today. We're ready for a rematch of Sebring Open 2 weeks ago, where Chris defeated Walter Ray Williams, Jr.
#1 in the world in the blue shirt. We'll sit and watch with you, Tim Criss from Bel Air. His 6th finals in 1997. And only his 9th TV appearance in his years as a professional. 30 years old, first shot on the left lane. High hit, leaving the 4-7.
Tim Criss, who has been the most outstanding player so far this year that was not a name player coming into the year, winning 2 titles, going for his 3rd. He's already won $68,000. You see his angle to the pocket. He's to the left side, throwing that what now is known as the turtle ball, that nice soft 16-mile-an-hour speed, and breaks up the 4-6-7 split.
So Tim from Bel Air, Maryland, has marked with a spare. Now here's your first look today to #1 in the world, player of the year last year, and in 2 of the years, 86 and 93, Walter Ray Williams. Walter Ray Williams, Jr. He is hot. He is in his 8th television appearance, 94th television appearance overall. King of the 90s, Bill.
Yep, he's bowled great, Chris, and he just has a tremendous natural ability.
So there you have an opening double by the premier player, Walter Ray Williams, Jr. Now Tim Criss moving far to the left on the approach.
Uses
working.
Uses the full approach, slides very close to the foul line.
Another high hit, didn't get the break this time, Nelson.
Well, Chris, he plays such a soft ball. He doesn't muscle the ball into the pocket like Walter Ray Williams does. And when he hits a little bit left of his target, he's asking for trouble. With that ball speed, as you see him sliding the foul line, not giving him much room, he doesn't get a chance to break up the splits.
So it's an open here in our first game of the afternoon, the Johnny Petraglia Open. Johnny will be joining us for the next game. 7th year that they have staged this event at Carolierer Lanes and put Johnny's name on it.
Tim Criss is going to play an angle somewhere here. Watch how close he slides to the foul line. His approach will be in this area, up to here, and swing the ball out between the 2nd and 3rd arrows.
Needed a break to clear the 10-pin off the left lane.
You see Chris's ball leave the soft 10. The 2nd pin on the right-hand part of your screen, the 6th pin, doesn't have enough impetus to get up and kick the 10 out. He doesn't have enough ball speed for the head pin to come around and bird dog the 10. So he's left with an easy spare.
So Walter Ray is quickly up. At 6'2" frame, 180 pounds in top shape, and Tim that you're looking at now is 5'10", 175. Great part of bowling. You can be any size and shape and do well. Three in a row. he won 16 and lost 8. In the final block, he won 7 of 8, so he was hot last night. Hot today. Okay, we're at Carolierer Lanes in North Brunswick, New Jersey, where we'll return after this. Okay, back again at Carolierer Lanes. Walter Ray Williams Jr. 4 strikes in a row. Bo, that gives him a 46-pin lead. He's hot.
Well, Walter Ray, I feel, is the best and most versatile player in the world. Tim Criss is the new upstart on the block, and he's backed up here in this match. He trails by 46 pins. Coming up in the 4th frame, has to get his act together because Walter will not look back.
So the initial strike for Tim. To just join us, the winner will meet Steve HOSKINS and then Pete Weber, followed by AMLETO MONACELLI, the tournament leader.
The advantage of throwing the ball a little bit slower like Tim Criss is you don't knock the pins up in the air, so you get fewer taps, and obviously it's easier to keep your arm swing and your balance and your slide all intact. He's a good stroke.
Nice double by Tim. So the 5th frame now for Walter Ray Williams Jr. Same percentage as he has done in horseshoes, Bo. He's something.
Well, he's rolled 61 consecutive 200 games over 2 tournaments when he bowled on the tour back in 1993. And ironically, Chris, or not ironically, he's rolled 114 straight ringers.
Broken up that 5 with a 10-pin. Here
we see a little more ball speed out of, as Walter's talking to the crowd, we see a little more ball speed out of Walter, and that's going to drive the pins up in the air, and he left a solid 10. And basically, I don't really know if it affected the pin carry, but somebody yelled out right before he released the ball, and he kind of flinched. So still got a pretty good result.
And very politely asked the crowd if they could wait till after he delivered the punch, the bowling ball.
Okay.
But he's hot, and I don't blame him.
Tim Criss. Now let's look at his full approach. The approaches are 17 feet long. This man is a well-practiced player. He's standing up there. That's the 2nd row of dots you look on the right-hand part of your screen is 12 feet from the foul line, so he's about 13 feet back. Precision player, has done tons of practice. Watch how close he comes to the line.
Oops.
He's wired.
Well, this is about as much as he could possibly miss. I don't think he could miss this far if he was trying. The ball slid off his hand. He got it just about 5 boards left of his intended target and crosses. Unusual shot, a 3-9 spare conversion in front of Tim Criss.
Took care of that sleeper. Next Saturday, the special time, 1 Eastern, 2 Central, and 3 Pacific. It's the IOF Foresters Open from Ontario, Canada, Toronto, where last year's crown went to Dave Traver. That's next Saturday at 1 Eastern, 2 Central, and 3 Pacific.
So on a little earlier in the Eastern time zone, but in St. Louis, my hometown, our regular time, as you look at Sherry Criss, knowing her husband is in trouble in this match. He trails by 47.
10-pin for Tim Criss, whose mother-in-law, Mary, or Marge Criss, actually his mother, is here, rooting him on. He'll need that and more in this game. Pin lead as we look at Sherry. And yes, we are again in North Brunswick, New Jersey, where even the wildlife knows it's springtime. Big Walter Ray Williams Jr. smile as we're talking to you from an area about a little more than an hour from downtown Manhattan, North Brunswick. So 6 out of 7 strikes if you just joined us in this first match against Tim CRISS.
All right. Good.
And Parker Bone is over on the side with the man who will probably meet Walter Ray Williams Jr., Parker, Steve Hoskins.
Steve, you sustained an injury earlier this year. Is that going to affect you in any way today?
No, I don't think it will. I switched to 14-pound Tritons earlier in the week just to keep my hand from getting fatigued.
Yeah, so I think he's ready to get him.
Crowd reacting to Walter Ray's shot.
Watch this pin action. Probably the most unusual strike I've seen in years, Chris. A pin gets trapped over on the left-hand side, rolls around and kicks out to 10. That I have not seen before. Great break for Walter Ray Williams Jr. in the 8th.
Tim leaving another 10-pin.
And it looks like Walter's opponent, as you look at Tim CRISS, 6 rounds, 42 games, 18 qualifying. 1, 2, and 3 are 6-game rounds. 3, 4, 5, and 6 are 8-game rounds. That Steve Hoskins, as we said, Chris, he had a hand injury, broke his hand. He was out for 4 weeks and just recovering, and it's fun to watch him throw that big rainbow shot. So he'll be coming up against Walter Ray, who has a possible 279. Now CRISS could follow it out, finish it out with 210.
Well, it'll be a $6,000 check for this likable young man and very successful this year. He won from the top seed and he won from the number 5 seed, but today not as successful. Paige Pennington. Tonight on ABC, Soul Man's Dan Aykroyd, Jamie Lee Curtis, and Anna Chomsky star in the network premiere of My Girl 2. And on Saturday night at the movies, that's when you can watch My Girl 2. Then Randy Quaid, Sean Young, Sally Kellerman, and Daryl Hannah star in a brand new episode of the critically acclaimed Gun. All tonight on ABC.
Walter reacting to the first strike in the 10th frame, puts him in position for a 279. This locks him into the 260s. He has the match well in hand. It's just by how much is he going to win.
Well, what an opening game score for Walter Ray. .268 for the King.
CRISS just finishing out. If he finishes with 3 more strikes, we'll have a 210 and a night's paycheck.
All right.
Tim CRISS had to get out of his game plan, Chris. He's moved to the right. He's throwing it much harder and straighter down the outside, and that's not his favorite shot. Spare here, 199, creditable score, but Walter Ray Williams Jr. has won the first match.
Tim has really had a good year. 68,001 on the lanes from the 2 victories. And
my strike ball to make that. Good luck the rest of that.
Okay. 199. This ABC Sports presentation of the Professional Bowlers Tour will continue after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
At 7:53.
The Professional Bowlers Tour on ABC Sports. Brought to you by the owners, managers, and crew who proudly call the McDonald's in your neighborhood My McDonald's. Kellogg's, with good taste, nutrition, and value. The best you each morning from Kellogg's. And new Tagamet HV 200 for heartburn. It blocks acid fast with new Tagamet HV 200.
Well, I'm glad they could get together. Springtime. And there you see the result of our first match. Walter Ray winning at 268 to Tim Criss's 199. An exciting event. Has a great name on it, too. The Johnny Petraglia Open. And here he is. Great to have you on.
Thanks, Chris. It's great being back. The first match was pretty exciting. Walter, I thought, was really going to bowl 300. He looked so lined in. I think if he gets by the ring in 10, that he tries a little harder in the 11th frame.
Okay.
Well, Johnny, you know scores are part of residue of how the oils lay down the lane, so let's take a look at it. Right here you can see that the oil is down 38 feet on the lane. We have a heavier concentration in this area, and then it tapers down, gets a little bit lighter. As you see, it goes down, and we call this kind of the Christmas tree effect. And if you can get your ball through the heads and slide in that hook area right down there at 38 feet, that's the optimum scoring angle. And John, obviously this is a Jersey oil, so what do you think of the oil pattern out here this week?
Well, I think that, well, first of all, Walter bowled great this week because the oil pattern is conducive to somebody that hooks the ball quite a bit. If the head oil in the front half of the lane holds up, then the talented players that are on the show with that kind of game will score. And but I think people have to remember that, say, a Parker Bone and a Pete Weber are equal in talent, and that the oil pattern is really what can separate the two of them.
And obviously it did this week as Parker was nowhere in sight. So we'll see what the right-handers can do these last 3 games. Walter Ray, red hot.
Another 10 pin.
All right. John, an interesting thing that I have privy information to, even though you're at your house here, is Walter's going to throw a little slower on 35 because it's tighter, and simply tighter because lane 36, there's a 2-inch upgrade from the front of the lane to the back, and that makes the ball hook a little bit more as it slows down. So watch for Walter to throw harder on the right-hand lane.
Yes, and I think that will be very critical for the 3 remaining right-handers that hook the ball quite a bit, Bo, because we'll have to see if they can adjust to both lanes. Tim Criss seemed to have a little bit of trouble on 36 because of that.
Good point,
now
John.
Steve Hoskins, who won at Sunrise last year, but has had an injury since. That's a nice break, Johnny.
Well, Steve is a superpower player. He's the type, as long as he can get the ball to the right, you're really going to see a lot of power from his game, and his swing gets loose. One thing about Steve, when he starts striking, he can strike all day.
28-year-old. We've always enjoyed having him on our telecast, Johnny. It's his 13th time, and he can get very excited with good shots.
Well, would you think maybe a little over-adjustment there on the tighter lane? He did look a little bit softer than he did in the first round.
I think that's a good point, John, in that the big hook ball bowlers like lanes to hook. When they go straight and down and in, their ball hooks too soon, and that's what they don't like. If you were going to bowl a home-and-home match against a big cranker, you bowl him on slick lanes in your house. They don't like to have to point the ball up as he makes a major mistake.
Oh, a major mistake against Walter very early. You give Walter that 12-pin lead sitting on the bench, and when he's lined up like he is now, and watch out.
Center of the lane, as we know here at Carolier, hooks a little bit more than the outside, and had trouble with the spare.
That's it.
All right, Parker Bone, the third, a native son, 2-time winner this year, Parker.
Tim Criss, it looks like you ran into a little steamroller there with Walter Ray. Looked like you had a little problem yourself.
Yeah, during the end of practice session, a little oil carried down on my break point, and I didn't know which way to go. I moved left first, and I just never felt comfortable, and I probably should have played it a little bit more like Walter Ray, but he's got a great reaction. He'll go well this week.
There you have it, Chris. He'll be back next week.
Okay. Watch this reaction.
Oh, he's really happy about tripping the 4 there, Chris. He knew he got it up the lane a little bit and was worried about throwing a split.
All right. Steve's second strike of the game.
Yeah, here's the critical shot for Steve. He's nice and loose on the right lane, and he'll whether he makes a good shot here or over-adjusts is going to be really important because he doesn't want to be down 22 pins very early in the match.
He has two options. He can stay over here as he has and throw the ball a little bit slower or crank it up a little bit more. Let's see what he goes with. He likes the power. He should saw on this one.
Left the 2-pin. Could have cut the lead to 12, but...
Well, I think what's interesting here is it's an over-adjustment. He was a little bit soft in the first frame, and a common error that's made on TV is you adjust off a bad shot. I think if he would have kept the same speed, he probably would have hit the pocket.
Okay, we're in our second game of the Johnny Petraglia Open, Carolier Lanes in North Brunswick, New Jersey. And this week, our trip down memory lane spotlights the man for whom today's tournament is named. Memory lane takes us back to 1980 and one of the many highlights of Johnny Petraglia's career. This win at the PBA National Championship, combined with his wins at the 1971 Tournament of Champions and the 1977 U.S. Open, made him the second player ever to complete pro bowling's Triple Crown.
The IOF Foresters Open, nothing but strikes. Next Saturday on ABC.
That's right, next week, Canada. Today, it's New Jersey. We're assisted by two left-handers, Parker Bone III and the tournament namesake, Johnny Petraglia. And Johnny, 3 in a row, back to his old form.
Well, I think that Walters made a really interesting decision today. In practice, he was using an all-reactive ball, trying to hook it like the rest of them, and then he said, let me go to my A game. He wanted a ball that's half reactive, half regular urethane, and played outside, and it's going right at him, and it's really working well for him. Do I know when to open my mouth or what?
You're learning how to be an announcer now, John. You can jinx him just like I do. Well, you could see him elbow his shot. Watch his arm come through. Watch that elbow. See it go out on the side like that? His ball has definitely left the target, leaves the 7-10 split. Walter will go cross lane with some good ball speed, try to bounce the 10 into the 7.
All right, his first open frame of the day after shooting a 269 in his victory over Tim Criss in the first game, and Paige Pennington.
John had a good point about Steve Hoskins. He's such a kind of a bowler that he succeeds or perishes with his attack to the lanes. He can either shoot 150 or 250. So let's see him wind out here.
Crossover, and we cross over from our location where we talked to Parker Bone III.
With Pete Weber. Pete, obviously you're a great player, but this year you've really turned it up a notch or two. What seems to be the reason for that?
Well, Parker, I've been bowling good all year long, and, you know, as everybody knows, I've had problems with the reactive resin balls, and Brian Berg has been 50% of everything I've done this year.
Well, there you have it, Chris. I think he's ready to roll.
Okay.
Brian Berg is his staff member ball representative out here, as all the staff members do have somebody to assist them with their equipment.
Well, ball change there. Even though he won Brooklyn trip before, he did make a ball change in the middle of the game and got a double out of it.
Third pin on the left-hand part of your screen, it'll do the damage in the left-hand corner. The 4 pin tripped out by the 2.
Oh, wrong spot.
And the sleeper down there, which he knows, of course.
That's what makes the sport so great, Chris.
It does.
You know, you see spare turkey, and Steve Hoskins is lost, and then here we go. All of a sudden, it's an 8-pin game, and Walter misses the pocket.
And you see how to convert the ideal way to convert the 2-8. Let the ball take out both pins.
That's it.
8 pins separating these two professionals. Number 1 ranked Walter Ray Williams Jr. and number 42nd ranked Steve Hoskins. There's Steve.
This is the interesting shot. Will he adjust off the bad shot?
All you greats can do that, Johnny. Nelson. Okay, we'll be back in New Jersey after this. AMLETO MONACELLI scorched the lanes here last night to get into the #1 spot. Right now it's Steve Hoskins going against Walter Ray Williams, Jr.
Steve can take the lead with a 3rd strike in a row here in the 7th frame. He trails by 8.
There he's reacting to Steve Hoskins, we know.
He went to a duller ball here, which moves a little earlier and stops a little bit in the back end. And so the back end is in a violent reaction. And so far it's working for him.
Put a little squeeze on Walter Ray right here if Hoskins can strike in the 8th. He leads by 2.
Well, Johnny, we have a little split to work on.
Well, that left lane is a lot different than the right lane, and Walter's the only one that's really conquered it. Steve's been light and high and defensive him. It wasn't his fault that time. I thought that ball was going to make it.
Tried to make a good shot. You see how to convert the split, get the ball to the left of the 2-pin, slide it into the 10.
Open in the 8th frame of the 2nd game in the Johnny Petraglia Open, and now he trails by 14.
Steve pulled it just a little bit, just almost made it. Ball grab a little soon on him. Here's Pounce time right here. Walter wants to put him away right here on his good lane.
Coming up next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, the European Masters of Gymnastics Championship, including men's and women's team competition. Also, the Pimlico Special, where the older horses race the week before the 3-year-olds run at the Preakness, plus the Valvoline Indianapolis time trials from the Brickyard. Coming up next on Wide World of Sports.
I think he's ready today. That was one of those frames where you know if I mark out him in the 2 teams and the other guy would have to strike out, and you a lot of times invariably leave that flat 10 because you want to trust the Walter stuff, but he's really ready to win today.
Right now, Hoskins has got to go in here. He's got to go with his 8th shot. He needs strikes.
Winner of this game will meet Pete Weber.
Hoskins has a chance in this game if he can strike out. He has a potential 212. Walter Ray Williams Jr. going at a 226 pace. That would force Walter to get at least a decent count on his first ball. If he gets a short count, he would have to mark. So it's imperative that Hoskins gets 2 more strikes, or it's the end of his day. John, that ball hit like a pumpkin.
Well, I think that he actually did throw the ball extremely well on the lane that he was really struggling on. He tried to fit it a little bit, but when you're not hitting the pocket and you really need it, he threw it pretty good. It just didn't flip the way it was supposed to in the back end and left that half 10.
Possible 192 for Hoskins will not be enough today.
Johnny, and a chance to congratulate you on the way you run this tournament. You and Lee Livingstone, especially the charity aspect of it, it's tremendous.
Oh, well, thank you, Chris. I'd like to mention that Danny Wiseman and Martin Frost won the Wheelchair Vets Pro Doubles Tournament, and ironically sponsored by Carolier Lanes, their team.
The oohs and ahs of the crowd, a solid 7 by Walter Ray. A hit we didn't see much of here or any time this year traveling around the country, but he's got the match well in hand. Watch the 4-pin. The 2nd pin on the left-hand part of your screen is going to jump right up in the air. Boom. Right over the 7. Walter will be in the 220s.
And Johnny, there's Paige Pennington, but in the audience is one of my favorite moms, Grace Petraglia.
Yeah, my mom and my dad are both here sitting near my son. And actually right next to Lee Livingston. I'm glad they can get here this year.
Well, we want to wish Grace and all the moms, including Debbie, happy Mother's Day tomorrow. Okay, Walter Ray has won his second. Now he meets Pete Weber. This week's Bo's Tip of the Week focuses on target shooting.
Today's tip spotlights spare and split conversions. With me is Scott. Now, Scott, where do you stand for your strike ball?
Right here on the green line.
Okay, you're on the green line. You've missed the head pin, left the 1, 2, 4 spare. Very simple to make it. Move 5 boards to the right of the approach, as signified by the red tape, and roll the ball over your strike spot. Let's give it a shot. Real good. Great shot. Good lesson to learn here. For splits and spares, some of the very common ones, a simple adjustment off your strike target will make the spare. The 2-4-5, the 1-2-4, the washout, the 5-7, the 5-10, and of course that evil 4-9 split. And now I'm with Taryn. Taryn, where do you stand for your strike ball?
Right there on the green mark.
All right, pal. Now, you've left the 2-4-5 spare down there. If you'll just move 4 boards to the right of the approach, as signified by the red tape, and roll it over your strike target, you'll make that spare. Real good. Nice shot, pal. Remember, you can use your strike target on the lane to convert a lot of the common spares and splits just by moving back and forth on the approach.
Okay, we're back again at Carolierer Lanes in New Jersey. Walter Ray Williams Jr. has won 2. He had 9 strikes in his first victory, 7 in his 225 over Steve Hoskins, 192. And now, the dream match. Walter Ray Williams Jr. and Pete Weber. There's a dream director with us so long from ABC, Lifetime Achievement of the Directors Guild, Larry Cam. There's Grace Petraglia we were talking about, and her husband Bill, Johnny's parents.
They have to be so proud, Chris, of John and all the things he's done. As we look at the top 24, they had an all-time record, 3,617 Pro-Am entries here. In the number 6 spot, a amateur high roller bowler, Mike Newman, almost made the top 5. And one of the most interesting matches of the year is AMLETO MONACELLI last night defeated him 300 to 299, and that prevented Newman from being in the top 5. We go down the line, David Traver, who will be the defending champion next week at the IOF Foresters. The Big D up there. Bob Learn, Roger Bowker's got some new Bowker fan club t-shirts coming out. We're looking forward to those. Steve Wilson, steady as usual. Joe Barkett, a nice week. The national champion, Rick Steelsmith. Jimmy Johnson threw 2 strikes to qualify for the top 24. Phil Bringer and Kelly Bennett round out the 24 finalists this week.
Great group of bowlers, believe me. Wonderful field, and of course here are upcoming stops. The IOF Foresters Open is special time from Ontario, 1 o'clock Eastern, 2 Central, and 3 Pacific. Then we go away for 1 week. We follow up with the Harrisburg Open, and this is another special time at 2:30 Eastern. So those are our next 2 telecasts with a week off between. Now, the dream match, Pete Weber and Walter Ray Williams Jr. Pete passed Walter Ray in the career earnings mark by about 32,000 now. Okay. There will be some psyching going on in this match, folks. Look at that late break on that ball, Nelson.
Well, 2 of the best bowlers that ever hit the PBA Tour. I really think the edge in this match goes to Walter Ray Williams Jr. You're going to see the style of Pete Weber. This is the lane that's been somewhat inextricable for the real big cranker players. Walter has hit it, but the guys playing the big hook, as such as Pete, have had trouble. Let's see what he does.
Leaving a 7-pin on that lane, Bo.
Well, it just hangs, Chris. Almost every pair in this house at Carolina Lanes, as you see Pete's style, the left-hand lane hooks more than the right. On this particular pair, the left-hand lane is tighter, and for some reason, these players just can't get the big hook to swing up.
All right, continuing to mark with the spare here in the semifinal game, the winner to meet AMLETO Monticelli. And now Walter Ray Williams Jr. open to the strike, shooting in the second frame. So a little 2-pin on the right lane.
Walter told me before we went on to the championship round, he was really worried about this right-hand lane, but he hit it very well the first match. And his trouble is that the amount is hooking, as you see him right on the edge of the lane, and he throws the ball through the break. He does not want to go high, so he figures a light hit is a better percentage. He's struggling a little bit.
So the defending champion of this event marked with a spare as we go to Parker Bone, the third.
Steve, it looked like that left lane gave you a little bit of problem this afternoon. What do you think about it?
I think that's going to be the key. Be interested to see if either one of the guys have a power game. We're going to be able to get it back on 35 without it hooking early. That will definitely be the key.
There you have it, Chris. That left lane's a key.
All right.
Come on. As you see, Walter conquered the left lane. A good lesson to be learned here. If a lane is very tight and you have a hang spot, as we saw Hoskins have a hang spot, we saw Pete Weber in his first frame have a little hang spot, you have to go straighter with the shot. Most people think you can crank it up to go around it. That is not true. That will be your downfall. Peter should hit this lane very well. This is the one that swings back. He says this ball really hit hard, and watch this thing as it deflects. The ball hits the 1-3 and almost bounces into the 10. I hope that's at least a 14 or 15-pound ball, Peter, because it really bounced off. That's a tough shot.
There is Tracy Weber.
A lot of these power players on the tour, we see Steve Jaros, who's been in the finals a lot of times, Pete Weber, Dave D'Intermont, are using lighter bowling balls. They're using 14 and 15-pound balls. They figure they get less solid taps. However, you do pay a little percentage or a little of a... you pay a little bit of a problem with of carrying on the light hits like Peter.
Semi-final match as we're in North Brunswick, New Jersey, where the weather has been, well, rather damp lately, but birds of a feather, they don't mind.
The bank.
You're looking at Big Jack KORDUSKY, the tournament chairperson, very efficient bowling executive, and always good to see when we come back to Carolina Lanes.
Walter Ray leads by 1. Can it make it 11?
Wonderful match. Like a boxing match. Punch, counter punch.
That was Walter's best shot in the last 5 or 6 frames. He actually, when he threw the ball, he just let it go. He knew it was solid.
Last year's Johnny Petraglia Open champion, where he defeated Pete Weber in match 1. This is match 3. He's already won 2, and now he has the 3-bagger.
Weber has to step it up. Trails by 21, 5th frame, the full approach. And he's going to saw on it. That's what happens when your carry goes bad. His ball hit weak in the 3rd frame, so now he wants to put a little more juice to it. So he snaps it around with his wrist, and the ball goes high. He's in a dilemma. If he throws this nice smooth shot, he doesn't strike. If he puts too much on it, it goes high.
All right, Parker Bone III is with the tournament leader.
Here with the El Hombre from Venezuela, AMLETO Monacelli. AMLETO, you devastated him last night. Is that going to continue today?
Well, Parker, I'm going to do definitely the best to continue as well as I did last night. But absolutely, it's not up all to me. It's up to the men upstairs, too.
There you have it, Bo. He's going to get him.
Good point. He bowled 2 300 games last night.
He's a little amazed how they danced off the deck. Even Walter Ray gave him a little tap.
The old saying, hit 'em light and watch 'em fight, and there they did. Coming out with a strike, but Walter Ray Williams Jr. has the upper hand, 6-frame, 21-pin lead. Wow, was he unlucky there. Walter knows he's thrown a really good shot, puts the maximum effort in it. Solid 7. And I'll bet you I didn't see 10 of those all week, Chris. We see some solid 8s, some solid 9s. He left a couple of those in his 42nd game last night. But no solid 7s. Bad break.
You know, tomorrow night on ABC, it's a Mother's Day premiere double feature. First at 7, 6 Central. Third Rock's Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Danny Glover, Christopher Lloyd, and Tony Danza star in the network premiere of Angels in the Outfield. Then, the world premiere miniseries event, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, starring Michael Caine, Mia Sara, and Patrick Dempsey, all tomorrow night on ABC. Here in New Jersey, Walter Ray is starring with another strike in the 7th frame. All right, he is the leader by 20, as we'll be back momentarily. All right, this is the way Bill Burton and I see the championship pair here at Carolierer Lanes, and here's our ABC colleague, Manny Cabral, one of our great friends with his lady, Maureen.
And he's a great bowling fan. Now, Pete Weber, 7th frame, semifinal match, trails by 20, needs a strike.
He wants the crowd to get with him. After that shot, he deserves to have them because that was something.
Well, Pete's not zeroed, and he gets a terrific break to stay close in the match and cut Walter Ray's lead down to 10 pins. The 2-pin goes to the sideboard, trips the 4 into the 9. He can make it a dead even match through 8 frames with a strike here. 8th frame.
Oh, no. That left line.
I think he knew it when he let go of it. Once again, the left lane is the story of the day. Walter Ray Williams Jr. playing the straight shot. The big crankers with the rainbow ball just having all sorts of trouble over there. They send it wide and soft. It goes high. They speed it up. It sails by. Pete Weber in trouble.
Oh! That's been a day's work, says Pete. You bet. I can see his dad Dick in St. Louis, and his mom Juanita coming right out of the chairs.
Super shot to keep him in the match. Walter Ray Williams Jr., you just can't let him get too far in front of you. Right now, he leads by 14.
Tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern, 1:30 Central and Pacific from Emerson Fittipaldi Speedway in Brazil, the Rio 400. The defending champion is Andre Ribeiro. Tune in tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern, 1:30 Central and Pacific on ABC Sports, a track named for a wonderful champion, Emerson Fittipaldi.
And his nephew, Christian Fittipaldi, out with a broken leg till June.
Foundation ninth. Such respect for each other. Showed after every good shot.
Mandatory that Pete Weber strike here in the 9th and 10th frames. Only chance he has.
This was the state where two men met, about 38 years ago and decided the PBA would be a good thing. I'm speaking of our friends Frank Esposito and Eddie Elias, both ailing. We hope they're enjoying the telecast. So at Echo Lanes right here in New Jersey, Bo, where all you folks got your organization going.
Pete Weber has to get over in here and just put all he can get on it. Hopefully he can get a strike and stay in the match. It's over.
So Walter Ray will have a chance to take back the money lead by a few thousand if he can go all the way and pick up a check for 30, because 27,000 actually separate the two.
You know, it's interesting how Walter has dominated here with his straight style against these crankers. Walter has defeated his opponents, as Pete's wife look on, by 51 pins a game coming into this match, and he can beat Weber by 54, make it 64 if he strikes out after Pete throws one in the moat. Now, Pete just testing a little test shot here to see which way the wind's blowing, and obviously it is not blowing south. Ball made no difference. Walter has a potential 259. Just finishing out. 238, that will be enough. A spare and a strike.
To go along with his 225 and his 268 and his 3 victories, and now he will be meeting AMLETO Monticelli for the championship.
Well, it's kind of get even time for Walter Ray. Walter Ray opened 2 times in the 9th and 10th frames in the semifinal match in the AC Delco Classic, our opening telecast on the ABC Tour this year, to let Weber win. So it's get even time. They're 1-1 on television this year. We'll see them fight it out again at a later date. Walter's the winner today.
Great winners. Pete with 22, and of course Walter Ray has 22. All right, this ABC Sports presentation of the Professional Bowlers Tour will continue after these messages and a word from our ABC stations.
Hello again, everyone. I'm Robin Roberts, hosting ABC's Wide World of Sports today from Disney's Wide World of Sports complex outside of Orlando, Florida. After bowling on ABC, a new event, the European Masters of Gymnastics Championship. Teams in artistic and rhythmic disciplines vie for the highest combined scores. Plus, we return to 1983 in our Wide World Classic and the emergence of Mary Lou Retton. We'll update all the action live at the Valvoline Indianapolis 500 time trials. Also live, the running of the PIMLICO Special. It's all next on Wide World.
Back again, and now we recap what has happened up to this point. Walter Ray Williams Jr. has won 3 matches in the first, 9 strikes, 268 to 199, and then with 8, 225 to 192, and here he came back in the 3rd match to defeat a nemesis, Pete Weber, by 238 to 195, and the championship match will be coming up very, very soon. I'm Chris Schenkel, and Bo and I are always impressed with the charities that are helped here by this particular tournament. It's a whole list of them, and all worthy causes, believe me. Some like the Tournament of Champs, the Institute for Children with Cancer and Other Disorders.
Well, Lee Livingston, as you see him right there, has raised over $150,000 and is really the man who is really the backbone of making this all work. Just a super guy, and I hope they really appreciate him out here in New Jersey. And as you see, a Veterans Memorial. This was presented to Lee Livingston, and another somewhat similar one to Johnny Petraglia, who spent some time in Vietnam, by the bowlers that bowled in the Silver Spoke Classic. And Danny Wiseman and Martin Frost won that tournament. And then, Chris, we're coming up with the King of the Hill. The winner of this tournament will start back with that Showboat King of the Hill at Harrisburg Open. That'll be the first time. And then finally, for all you computer folks, America Online, ABC Sports, you can always tune us up on Inside Sports. And we have a hot link to the PBA. So enjoy it, and enjoy this championship game. Walter Ray Williams Jr. and AMLETO Monticelli. This should be a barn burner.
AMLETO with 16 PBA championships. Walter Ray with 22. They've been head-to-head before. Walter shoots first. In the pocket. Woo.
The second straight week that a man has come from the first match to contend for the title. Tim Criss did it in the Sebring Open 2 weeks ago. Walter Ray Williams Jr. has defeated three opponents so far today, but he has a man who is tough with a bowling ball and probably as mentally tough as any player on the PBA Tour, AMLETO Monticelli.
With a 610 on the right lane.
And not the kind of shot he wants. He's trying to take a lesson from watching the other opponents that throw the big hook ball, the rainbow shot. AMLETO straightening it down a little bit, but got 2 straight, goes high, breaks up the split, and comes away with a spare.
AMLETO Monticelli cashing in 15 consecutive tournaments. Now to gain the tournament lead, he bowled 2 300 games and a 290 in his last 5 games last night.
And one of the most interesting ones is you see AMLETO going to be on the left side of the approach. He'll be in this area. Now he's not going to try to hook it over in this area like some of the other players. He's going to try to be more between the second and third arrows. And he'll drift a little this way, and then cut it right loose around the third arrow.
The player of the year back-to-back in 89 and 90. Crossed over, and he's now going to have to try for another spare.
Well, as I said earlier, the easiest way to stop or slow down a big cranker is oil the lanes where he can't swing it back. And we've seen Hoskins struggle, and we've seen AMLETO struggle, and obviously Walter Ray in the driver's seat in the early going.
So Walter Ray is back up and shooting in the second frame, strike working, and AMLETO with 2 spares.
He knows he just got a little soft with this shot. He knows on the right-hand lane that he's not going to make any moves. He's not going to move left if the ball starts to hook. As you see it drifting high, that ball was setting solid in the first match. So Walter Ray in his last 4 shots in this lane will zip it up with more speed.
Okay, Parkabone the third on the lanes.
Pete, you filled all the frames, even the gutter, 1 shot. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough.
Well, you know, I was confused out there. My blue ball just didn't seem to hook enough, and my purple one overhooked, except that last ball. It just didn't hook at all.
He'll be back next week.
And other weeks. So, of course, Walter Ray Williams Jr., who is 40 to the second to strike up, and Monticelli now. Boy from Barranquilla, Venezuela. Wonderful person. Okay, third frame strike.
What a terrific lane move by AMLETO Monticelli. We watched the other 3 power players, Weber, Hoskins, struggle, and Criss the same way by not getting the ball wide enough. He went out by the channel. Walter Ray knows he now has an opponent that if he can hit this left-hand lane, it's going to give him all the competition he can handle. So far, Walter has outscored his opponents by 48 pins a game today. I'm sure he did not intend to get that ball down about the 4th or 5th board, and you see it go left across to the Brooklyn immediately, where we saw the previous frame get it out to the very first board and flirt with the edge. Look at this trajectory, right over the 3rd arrow, but out to about the 7th board, where in the previous frame on the right-hand lane, he went out to the very edge, and I think that's the only way he's going to be able to conquer this left lane.
This is the championship match for $30,000 to the winner, and today's champion will walk away with the money and, of course, this beautiful trophy.
Professional Bowlers Tour on ABC Sports. Brought to you by Head & Shoulders, because great hair can't have flakes. Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light.
The applause originating at the Carolier Lanes. Coming in from Akron, the reigning commissioner of the Professional Bowlers Association, Mark Gerberich.
Walter Ray Williams, fourth frame, leads by 1 pin. Championship match can make it 11.
That. Wow.
You can hear Walter say, wow. He tried moving farther out in the lane. There's not much more room to move. He'll be in the gray board or the gutter, whatever you want to call it. And he just needs to keep his ball speed up on that shot. He's right in this match, championship match. You don't have time to fiddle around.
If you just joined us, Walter Ray won the first 3 matches. The scores of 268, 225, and didn't write down the other final. Butch, what was the other final? Uh, 238. Very respectable. 3 great matches by Walter Ray. Now he's meeting the tournament leader, AMLETO Monticelli. Tough competitor.
Monticelli made a good shot on this lane in the 3rd frame. See if he can duplicate that and then get zeroed on the left.
Perfect. Yes. I mentioned Butch in giving me that score. That's Butch Soper, PBA member, and keeps us honest here each Saturday afternoon.
Well, the man they call El Hombre out here, as you see Walter Ray brushing off his shoes. The approach is a little bit slippery here, so he takes a wire brush and cleans them out. He's more down the center, right in here. Now, he needs to get the ball quickly out to the edge. He cannot get the ball to the center of the lane. Watch this shot. This will determine a lot on what's going to happen in the match. The right shot, just not a real good result. He blows the 5 right over the top of the 7. That would have put AMLETO in the lead. But this match has all the signs of going down to the 10th frame. This is the first player that I feel today has been zeroed in enough on the championship pair to contend with Deadeye. Chris, I just have a feeling the pace is going to pick up right here. It's been a little bit lethargic in the first 5 frames. I think Walter's going to go to the whip, and AMLETO can see the finish line as he cogitates on the side, eyes down. He's ready to go. Let's see what happens. 5 frames left. Oh, solid 9. You can't ask for anything more than that.
Cal Poly graduate couldn't figure that one out.
Well, no deflection, Chris. He's got a tremendous angle of the pocket. See the ball just drive right through the 1-3-5 zone. The 5 should deflect the ball into the 9. It doesn't, as his wife looks on saying, hey, bad break, Walter, but you lead by 1.
They're the PBA average leaders. You see that Pete Weber tops them with 225, and AMLETO, number 5, 220 plus. Walter Ray just in 4th, not just in 4th, but and in the money department, that's for this year. Parker Bone, our interviewer today, number 1. And if Walter Ray can win here today, he will regain the career money lead from Pete Weber. In the 7th frame for AMLETO.
One of the bonuses that goes along with winning this match today, he will be one of the players in our Showboat King of the Hill match, which will be our opening match at the Harrisburg Open, May 31st. So it'll be an interesting bonus, plus there's a lot more on the line. Now, Nobody has been ahead of Walter Ray all day long. Right now, AMLETO has a chance here in the 8th frame to put Walter in arrears by 9.
And then...
Wow. I watched the ball. I saw AMLETO, his disappointment, as you see how to make it. Mark Roth has bounced the 7 out, the 10 out into the 7. That's the same strategy AMLETO is going to try to use. But boy, he throws it in the channel. Disappointed AMLETO MONACELLI. And Walter Ray Williams, Chris, just about jumped out of his seat when he saw that 7-10 split. Here, AMLETO, a little bit discouraged, gets out of his game plan, tries to throw it extra hard to bounce the 10 out, loses a shot to the right. Walter Ray, once again in the driver's seat. This is the key shot right here.
Walter Ray winning 3 and now trying for the title.
Re-rack, re-rack, re-rack.
Each player allowed 2 re-racks in a match for various reasons. Either the pins are off spot or just wants to take your time.
You guys are looking, so.
Talking to one of the officials that says, hey. So he's either saw a pin a little bit off spot. They look perfect to me there. 25 pin lead. This is the tournament if he can strike here.
He want to successfully defend this championship. Yes. AMLETO, after an open frame in the 8th, now shooting in the 9th.
That re-rack may have been the difference, Chris. He gets the love tap on the 10 with the 6, and if the pins are just slightly off spot, that would not have happened. AMLETO on the ropes must strike. The tournament leader so far this year, 7 wins, 7 losses. If AMLETO does not strike on the next 2 balls, he has no chance of winning, and he would become the 8th victim to go down to defeat as a tournament leader. Absolutely must strike on the next 2 shots to have any chance. Walter Ray Williams Jr. wins the title. It's unbelievably how well AMLETO bowled, and he ends up going to be bowling in the 180s. It's amazing. From the 3rd frame on, he just super shots and got nothing to show for it, Chris.
Guy that came from 24th in match play to the very top with spectacular bowling last night. Just at 1 game, not doing what he wanted to do.
Well, and the kind of the keys at night, Chris, the lanes hooked a lot more at night, and all the crankers that went against Walter Ray today could not get the big hook balls to come back, especially on the left-hand lane, and that was their undoing as Walter just cruises to the title here, a potential 240, but it's just a moot point from here on in.
The play of Walter Ray made a birthday party that had to be interesting. Lori Jakubowski's nephew, Ryan, who's 2, already trying to bowl.
All right, that's a good age to start. Well, we had 14,500 plus spectators come through the turnstiles here this week, and Walter Ray Williams Jr. delighted the crowd here today.
And here is a late starter in bowling. Number 1 in the world, now has 23 titles. He regains the money lead by some $3,000. Standing ovation for Stockton, California's University of Cal Poly graduate. And a hug from Paige Pennington, his wife. 237 to 184. Walter on a 4-game great performance here at Carolierer Lanes, getting the congratulations from the crowd, and rightfully so. Okay, we will return after this.
Well, 23 titles for Walter Ray Williams Jr. He ran the table against a stellar field today. $30,000 first place, and with the winner, my partner, Chris Schenkel.
Wow. Deserved applause, Walter Ray, as Lee Livingston and Johnny Petraglia are here. 32 strikes. Was the re-rack the key?
No, but this right lane, it seemed like the 1-3 were getting just a pinch open, and I did leave a couple of solid 7s on that lane, so I don't know if that was the reason why, but when you're in the 10th frame or whatever, you want a good shot or something. You want those pins to be right where they're supposed to be and throw the best shot you can, and fortunately things worked out for me.
I guess. Let's hear from AMLETO Monticelli. Bo's with him right now.
Well, I wish I was with him, Chris, but I don't blame him for running off. He left a swishing 710, a couple of solid wraps, bowled a 185 game that looked like it could have been up a 255. But, you know, Walter's on a roll. He's bowling great, and he's got everything going for him. So I can't blame AMLETO. He's like Elvis. I have left the building. Back to you.
All right. Well, let's get some money in your pocket. Paige is out here, and Lee Livingston has a check.
I remember 1 year ago I did the same thing, all the way with Walter Ray from number 5 right on through. Congratulations, $30,000.
Thanks, Lee. I'd like to thank Lee Livingston and all the staff here at Carolierer Lanes. They did a great job, all the spectators, all the scorekeepers, mechanics, everybody here. You're great here in New Jersey.
Could there be a better name on a tournament than Johnny Petraglia? Johnny with a beautiful trophy.
Walter, just tremendous performance all day today against a truly great field. And, well, one of the toughest parts, this is all glass. You have to hold it now. I want to get it out of my hands. Congratulations, defending. Very welcome.
Thanks, Johnny. I'd like to thank Johnny Petraglia. He's a good friend of mine. It's great that we've got a tournament named after him. Great person, and to be with a great company like Brunswick. It's a great sponsor of professional bowling, and as you can tell, a good maker of bowling balls. So.
All right. Was that a heck of a commercial? Okay, AMLETO's here.
Well, Elvis returns. He's back in the building. AMLETO, the crowd likes you. You're one of my favorites, but obviously the left-hand lane didn't like AMLETO Monticelli.
Well, I mean, I know I did my best. I think I bowled as good as Walter. You just got to carry it and get it. And this is called bowling. So someday you're going to carry, someday you're not.
You know, my late father told me if you get there often enough, things come around and go around. I am sure, and I'll predict now, that next time AMLETO's in the top 5, he'll end up a winner. What do you think?
I do believe so.
All right, one of the real nice guys in professional bowling. He finished second, Chris. You have 2 of the nice guys with you with Lee Livingston. Back to you, pal.
Listen, you have to finish second every now and then to appreciate winning. Ask Walter Ray. What was it? How many seconds do you have?
Only 28.
Oh, you youngsters in the audience, take that little bit of philosophy that we've passed on to you. On to Toronto?
Yes. In fact, I'm going to probably leave this afternoon. Got a little packing to do. My wife did a little shopping on the way up here, so we got to rearrange some stuff and get up there. I'm supposed to bowl a pro-am tomorrow night, and then the tournament starts obviously on Wednesday, and I'd like to be on that TV show next week. I'd like to make it 2 wins in a row and then defend in Harrisburg in a couple of weeks.
Of course. And there's the King of the Hill.
Yeah.
You're in it already, pal.
Yeah, last time was Ron Williams, so this might as well be Walter Ray Williams this time around.
That's it. All right. Thank you, Johnny, Lee. Walter Ray, congratulations, defending champion back-to-back here. We thank you all, and happy Mother's Day tomorrow. Thank you.
Today's telecast of the Professional Bowlers